Hiya folks, I said I would do a bit more of an in-depth video on Rootdown Raceway once I've got everything sorted. Well, the bike park's now reopened again, this is fully finished off, and I suppose it's time to give a bit more detail on it. The first thing I want to talk about is the difficulty of Rootdown Raceway and how that fits in with the rest of the park. So this track is purposely designed not to be a difficult track. It does have its challenges if you want to go at them, but if you want to just ride it to be able to get from the top down to the very, very bottom, or later on from the start to the finish, then it's not actually that difficult to do. I know that I've just kind of recently built Electric Landlady, and everybody's presumption was to be the next track that I build will be even harder to ride than that. This is a standalone track. I am moving on to a track called Beggars Canyon, and yes, that will be more difficult to ride than Electric Landlady. But for this one, Rootdown Raceway, its whole purpose is later on it's going to become a racetrack. It's going to have time trials on it, and it's going to have events on it. So the idea is to make sure that people can get from the top down to the bottom without too much trouble. Now, if you want to find the fast lines and keep your speed and not have to press the brakes too much, yeah, there are some challenges. And that's it, Rootdown Raceway, all 1100 metres of it. The easiest way to explain it, I think, is to use this map up at the top here. The track's broken down into sections, and we should probably deal with it in sections as we go down. So the top section is what I call Tech Sec. It's twisty and turny and tight. Go! That leads into off the brakes. And then we start to get into our features, and we should probably tackle those one by one. The first one that you'll come across is the camel humps that lead directly into S Express. So, as you can see, this one is totally rollable. It can be doubled over, and if you get into here somewhere, you're looking at roughly 12 feet or so, about the same as the jump that's on GAP. It is slightly technical because it is a little hipped in the air, but you know, if you're used to doing that on GAP, then you'll be used to this one. However, the real fun about this one is if you do choose to double over and hold your speed, then you get to hit into these two berms, which is one into a little pop out, into another, and a pop out again. This area is tons of fun. Following that, we've got in and out. Again, completely rollable. You're just popping off a single log and then rolling over two more single logs. However, the idea is, should you so choose, you pop off, push down into that section and pop yourself over this 9-foot double here. Obviously, in the opening weekend, we've got a fair amount of cases going on the log here. We're starting to lose a couple of bits, but hey, that's what it's there for. It's there as a no big consequences feature to practice on. In and out leads into pucker up, which can be taken as a gap jump or rolled through. I'd probably rank this about the second most difficult feature on the track. It is completely rollable, but if you choose to come at it at speed, I mean, you really are moving. You've just come out of in and out, put down on the out section of in and out, and then straight into here. And what you find yourself doing is, at speed, you're gapping over to this landing, and if you can see those two lines in between the trees, you enter straight away into a very twisty turny bit again at high speed. So there is a fairly decent level of difficulty on this one. It's about 14 or so feet into this put down section in here, but as I say, this tight and twisty pinball section comes up real fast once you decide that you're going to take pucker up on at full speed. Then the biggest feature in this section, the log raft. We all have a different point of view on things, but personally for me, the log raft is one of the most difficult jumps possibly on park, but definitely on this track. To get over to the landing area, you need to be shooting approximately 19-20 feet to hit this backside transition. As it stands at the moment, I'm not making that every time. However, you know, what do? Go fast, pull up. I must be making an error somewhere in those two stages. Anyway, although this one is like a 3-log step down, and you do get to step down onto this platform here, so it's not such a bad put down, the way I've got it taped currently is you don't have to hit over this. You'll notice there's a path round this side that some people have been taking, followed up by the kinker. The kinker gets its name from this hipped takeoff here. It's asking you essentially to dip a left shoulder and pop on round to a left hand corner. Infinitely rollable. It's just like a elongated whoop, so to speak. But if you want to pop over it, then it does require a bit of a dip to get round. It's not the worst and not the most tricky feature on track, but it does require a little bit of thought to unlock.
And on and through.
So yeah, Rootdown Raceway is not the most difficult track on park. It's certainly not as difficult to do as something like Electric Landlady. But as a racetrack, it does have enough features in there and enough questions to ask that's going to set the sort of times apart, and not everybody's going to, you know, the top 25 are going to be within tenths or hundredths of a second of each other. So there is enough in there to set things apart as a racetrack, and that'll come into its own later on when we start to utilise it as such. At the moment, it fits in with the ethos of the park because, hey, it's some more stuff to have a go at and some more stuff to challenge you. If you get over some of that stuff there, you know, you're putting down around the 14-foot mark, which in fairness, that's bigger than the middle feature on Electric Landlady. So, hey, you're sending that 1 foot further, I suppose. But yeah, there's enough going on in that at the moment to just kind of play around on and session until we get it going for some racetracks and some events. After that, or now that that's done, the next thing for me to work on is a track called Beggars Canyon, and that one will be slightly more challenging than Electric Landlady. In fact, while it's still light and while it's still sunny, I need to head over and get some work done. Catch up with you guys soon. See you in a bit.